Coming up today, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe makes no apology for Japan's wartime sexual enslavement of Korean and other Asian women, sticking instead to a vague reference to the women's suffering. The United States and Japan announced new defense cooperation guidelines that will significantly boost Japan's military role in Northeast Asia, raising concerns of a return to Japanese militarism. First rescue efforts in Nepal are continuing after a powerful earthquake killed more than 4,000 people. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Tuesday, April 28th here in Seoul. Thanks ever so much for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this morning, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe passed up the chance to help heal the wounds of Japan's wartime past on Monday, choosing to offer no clear apology for his country's sexual enslavement of tens of thousands of Korean and Asian women during World War II. Giving a lecture at Harvard University on Monday, Abe maintained his vague stance on history. He only said he has feelings of remorse for the women, but he put it in a way that didn't identify Japan as the perpetrator.
With regard to the comfort women issue, my heart aches when I think about the people who were victimized by human trafficking and who were subject to immeasurable pain and suffering beyond description.
Watchers say Abe's remark was carefully calculated so as not to deviate from his administration's existing position of not directly acknowledging Japan's responsibility for the wartime atrocities. Outside the auditorium, dozens of students and other protesters, including Eong-soo, one of the surviving sexual slavery victims, held a rally urging Abe to apologize for Japan's past wrongdoings. The United States and Japan have unveiled a new defense cooperation pact designed to significantly expand Japan's military role in the region and beyond. The agreement came after a 2+2 meeting of defense and foreign ministers of the two countries in New York. On Monday, the new guidelines for US-Japan defense cooperation eliminates geographic restrictions that had largely limited Tokyo's defense work, while allowing for global cooperation ranging from defense against ballistic missile, cyber and space attacks, as well as maritime security. The resolution also allows Japan to exercise the right of collective self-defense, namely coming to the military aid of an ally under attack. The two countries dismissed Korea's concerns that the move is Japan's attempt to amend its pacifist constitution, saying they will act in accordance with international law. Japan's sovereign rating has been slashed from A+ to A by credit rating firm Fitch. The downgrade means Fitch evaluates Japan, the world's fourth largest economy, as a worse credit risk than the small Mediterranean island of Malta. Fitch says it cut Japan's rating because the Abe administration did not balance the lost revenue from last year's delay in hiking consumption tax. The agency expressed concern about Japan's rising government debt, noting that Japan's projected government debt to GDP ratio by the end of this year will be by far the highest in the developed world. Now, aid efforts have been ramped up in Nepal as the country tries its best to recover from last weekend's devastating earthquake. But thousands have spent yet another night in the open as the confirmed death toll soars past 4,000. The Interior Ministry says around 7,000 people had been injured in Saturday's 7.8 magnitude quake, and an unknown number of people remain unaccounted for. As well as the fear caused by regular and powerful aftershocks, people camping in the open are often suffering from a combination of rain, hunger and thirst. Making matters even worse, potentially thousands of Nepalese families remain cut off from help as rescue teams battle to reach devastated areas outside of the major urban areas. To help efforts, 90%, 9 out of 10 of Nepal's army has been mobilized, with the military officials saying they are operating on a war footing. Now, there have been attempts to fix phone lines and restore much needed power to those areas. The Nepali government says it's also focusing on rescuing the foreigners trapped around the country, including people on climbing expeditions. And the Korean government dispatched a search and rescue team to quake-hit Nepal on Monday. Korea plans to send another group at the end of the week, joining a growing number of countries and aid agencies pledging relief for the devastated country. Shin Se-min reports.
The survivors are exhausted after sleeping outdoors in the tent cities that have sprung up around the capital of Kathmandu. Most of them have either been displaced or are afraid their homes will collapse as strong aftershocks from the quake that struck Saturday continue to rock the nation of nearly 28 million. The people are in desperate need of shelter, food, clean drinking water, and electricity, and medical supplies are running low. The Korean government stepped up its response to the crisis on Monday by dispatching a team of rescue workers. An advance team of 15 left for Nepal Monday evening, while a second group of 30 is scheduled to depart Friday. This in addition to the $1 million in aid Korea has already pledged. Help is coming from around the globe. UN spokeswoman Orla Fagan left for Nepal Sunday to help combat possible outbreaks of disease like measles. Canada, France, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates have also pledged aid. Britain said it is delivering supplies and a rescue team, while Pakistan is sending military aircraft loaded with medical supplies, a necessity for a country where hospitals are being overwhelmed. The U.S. also sent a military plane loaded with supplies and disaster response personnel. But getting to Nepal at this point is also proving to be a challenge. There's just one international airport that's been shut down frequently due to the aftershocks. Meanwhile, many remote regions, most of them impoverished, are left to fend for themselves as landslides and aftershocks hamper rescue efforts. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's Prime Minister Wankoo officially stepped down from his post on Monday after President Park Geun-hye accepted his resignation. In his farewell ceremony, he apologized for causing concern over the recent bribery allegations made against him. Kwon So-ah reports.
Just a little over 2 months. That's how long, or short, Prime Minister Lee Wankoo's term lasted. Monday evening, Lee gave his resignation speech at Seoul's government complex, at times with tears.
I want to say goodbye to you today. I am very sorry for causing concerns over the recent situation.
He also said his departure comes with a heavy heart for leaving so many things unfinished and not completing his duties. President Park Geun-hye wasted no time in approving his step-down after returning from her South America trip Monday. Lee tendered his resignation last week while the president was away due to mounting pressure across political lines. The former prime minister is one of 8 ruling Saenuri Party politicians listed on an alleged bribery note left by late businessman Song Wan-jong, who committed suicide earlier this month. Whoever succeeds Lee as the next prime minister is in for a tough ride, as President Park already had a difficult time finding the right replacement for her first prime minister, Chung Hong-won. In the meantime, Deputy Prime Minister Choi Kyung-hwan will serve as acting prime minister until the position is filled. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
And turning now to the latest in the ongoing probe into that bribery scandal, and prosecutors questioned another aide of the late businessman at the centre of it all, Song Wan-jong, on Monday. The aide, identified only by his family name Jong, was grilled on his knowledge of the bribery allegations and whether he hid or destroyed evidence. Jong worked for the late businessman from 2012 to 2014, when Song was a Saenuri Party lawmaker. Jong served alongside Eong-gi, another aide who was arrested last week on charges of destroying evidence. Now, going forward, prosecutors also plan to summon the aides of 8 high-profile Conservative Party politicians accused of taking kickbacks. The names of 8, as we just heard in that report, including the now former Prime Minister Wankoo, were found on a list left by Sung, who committed suicide earlier this month. The ruling Saenuri Party and the government have agreed to fast-track a series of long-stalled bills to help improve human rights in North Korea. They're aiming to push them through in June if they fail to reach a compromise next month. The bills have been pending in the Parliamentary Foreign Affairs and Unification Committee for 10 years now, due to bipartisan differences over their content. One of the most contentious bills includes a proposal to fund South Korean civic groups that fly anti-North Korea leaflets across the border. It's gained support from the ruling party, but the main opposition, New Politics Alliance for Democracy, is against it. Some lawmakers argue that the passage of the bill would unnecessarily stir up inter-Korean tensions. For the first time in 5 years, the South Korean government has approved a civic request to send aid to North Korea. Other heavy economic sanctions imposed on the regime will remain in place, but some watchers say the move signals that inter-Korean relations may be turning a corner. Our Kim Ji-yeon has the details.
Seoul's Unification Ministry gave the green light for Ace Kyung-am, the foundation run by South Korean bed maker Ace, to visit North Korea to set up greenhouses there. The group will cross the border by car on Tuesday and return on Saturday. The plan includes a provision of 15 tons of fertilizer to the north, along with materials needed to build greenhouses, like vinyl and pipes, for a total value of roughly $186,000. The ministry says it may also consider allowing other private aid groups to provide fertilizer to the north, but says inter-Korean relations could be a factor in the decision. The delivery of aid related to the agriculture and forestry sectors comes after a speech made by President Park Geun-hye in Dresden last year, where she outlined a plan for achieving a breakthrough in frosty inter-Korean relations. Seoul has banned fertilizer aid to North Korea since it imposed heavy economic sanctions on the regime following Pyongyang's torpedo attack on a South Korean warship in 2010. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
The last Wednesday of the month in Korea is a special occasion known as Culture Day. It's a day when cultural facilities throughout the country, including museums, galleries and movie theatres, offer special discounts or hold events to promote culture and the arts. With the next Culture Day coming up on this coming Wednesday, the Culture Ministry says this month's event will feature nearly 1,800 programs nationwide, and that's the highest number yet, and more than twice the number of events in January of last year, when the first Culture Day was held. Smoking inside restaurants and cafes is no longer allowed here in Korea. Those who want to light up have to make their way outside into designated booths. But most of these spaces aren't equipped with adequate ventilation systems. But now, Korean researchers have developed a way to make smoking rooms less smoky. Park Se-young has the story.
At this cafe in Seoul, walking into the smoking room is like entering a toxic cloud. That's because the ventilation fan is not strong enough to clear the haze. But a group of Korean researchers has found a way to make the rooms less dangerous for die-hard smokers. Working with the Korea Tobacco and Ginseng Corporation, the scientists developed a filter that can quickly and effectively remove harmful substances from the air. For example, in a 26 square meter room of 12 smokers, the filter can sift out 80% of the toxins in just 30 minutes. Compare that to conventional purifiers. Under the same conditions, they can only eliminate 20 to 30%. The secret? Ceramic filters coated with nanocatalysts. They're tiny particles that combine with the cancer-causing agents in the smoke, turning them into safe carbon dioxide and vapor.
The nanocatalyst can break down 80 to 90% of harmful gases, like acetaldehyde, which makes it more effective than the existing absorption method.
This nanocatalyst technology is also cost-effective. It can be applied to fiber filters, lowering expenses and raising the efficiency of air purifiers. The research team has applied for a patent and plans to commercialize the new technology within a year. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broome. Have a wonderful day, and thank you, as always, for watching. And we do hope to see you at the same time on Wednesday. Goodbye.